The Chinese from Great Wall Motors have come to Germany, to the heartland of the automotive industry, with the WEY Coffee 01. Here today with Thomas and Autogefühl, let's see what taste this blend of coffee has. And here, the WEY Coffee 01 has this chrome front grille, a little bit Lincoln-like, isn't it? With the WEY logo and modern headlamps, optional with laser lighting and also modern daytime signature right here. The color for today is Arctic blue, and that very well fits to the Arctic temperatures here at the moment we have in Germany. Can they succeed with this blend here in the German market? Will be very interesting. It's a plug-in hybrid SUV, supposed to have an all-electric range of 150 kilometers or 90 miles. That's of course very substantial from a 42 kWh battery. That's a huge battery for a plug-in hybrid vehicle. And they want to sell this one here at around 50,000 euros. This will be a very competitive price. But what else do you get for that? The length here is 4,87 meters or 192 inches. That's really interesting because if you think about BMW X3 and X5, it's exactly in between. So not as for European taste full-size SUV, but not mid-size, in between. And so they want to have a unique market position with the length of this vehicle, and also considering the length and then at that price. Because even if you add some extra options, you can maybe spec some 5,000 euros or dollars in the vehicle. It is basically already all set. Wheels here come from 20 or 21 inch. These ones here are the bigger ones with a very open, cool design, and also a very clean design here at the rear, falling chrome line right here, and quite strong shoulders. And these door handles seem to be like from a Range Rover Vela, we know these ones. And they also go in when you close the vehicle to be more wind efficient. As for the drivetrain, you have combustion engine in the front, one electric motor in the front and the second electric motor in the rear. That one is the stronger one then, and overall system output is around 460 horsepower. That's astonishing as well. And the acceleration figure will be around just 5 seconds to 100 kilometers or 62 miles an hour. Very powerful. Here the rear design, once again with the vertical running light or braking light here as it stands right now. Once again, a very clean design with a chrome contrast in the lower part. And the top speed will be at 245 kilometers an hour or 145 miles. And turning indicators cascading here in the rear. And even in the front, fancy cascading style. Let's check out the interior door closing sound. Very solid, like it. And here also the panel gaps here, already is prototype, very well done. Then instead of the doors, this is here in, one of the more sophisticated trims. You can also get a little bit more plain, but here we have this quilted structure, and here also leather red materials. Here also a little bit softer, for example. Steering wheel, sadly here with capacitive buttons, so I would have hoped for some more manual there, but they want to be more high-tech alike. But also the steering wheel is, by the way, from animal-free material. The whole interior is indeed vegan. And also as for the seats then, of course, here the seating is either like this with microfiber and this quilted structure, or comes with a full leather red, a slick surface if you want to wipe it clean. Also cooled seats are available, and you have different colors here, for example gray, then with this blue notations, or also with purple. Then also black or brown is available, so different choices as well. And they look really cool also here, especially with the quilting. That makes a very, very good impression. But are they also comfortable? Well, first seating test here, actually quite good and cozy, and especially here in that shoulder area, good support. With 1,86 meters or 6'1", I also have enough headroom left, and there's a huge panoramic roof here, and you can also open that. This is the car key, and interesting is it basically is their logo. That's why it's also so long. That's a very neat idea. The interior here with a huge middle console and screens. 9.2 inch digital instruments, small, zoom more details to that. Head-up display, also zoom more details to that. Then a huge 14.6 inch infotainment screen, zoom more details to that. And another 9-inch screen here for the climate unit. You know, I prefer manual climate dials. They have here this solution, and you can see it's, from a user interface, because it's really flat, this integration here. Probably would have been better if they would more have, like this integration. The screens, zoom more details here, soft touch here also at the dashboard. Once again, it looks like good build quality also on the interior. And then here we have cup holders also adaptive. This is then the shifting lever, soon for a test drive. And this is an inductive charging pad for your smartphone, and this is like a split opening for some more space. Instruments here kept it rather simple, speed and some basic GPS information, because they are rather relying on the head-up display. Yeah, there it is. Here they rather rely on the head-up display, and also you can see with augmented reality arrows. And a short preview of the infotainment system here could be surely a little bit more responsive. Here still says test version, and here you also have this, this app kind of view. This one here then for the car setting, that looks a little bit Tesla-alike, right? But then you can also see there will be different driving modes available, soon also more when we drive it. Let's take a look at here, color selections for the ambient lighting. What's also quite spectacular is here you can have this 360 view like this, so camera view around the vehicle. I can't read Chinese, I was just guessing that this way I can go back. Here now this climate unit, yeah, I think that's just has the wrong angle to control it properly while driving, but this is actually quite easy here to press the steering wheel and for the steering wheel heating. Now let's get to the rear, and wow, this is really like a lot of rear legroom, look at that. This is, so they obviously paid a lot of attention to that. Yeah, and in China, it's really very important for the vehicles to have a lot of rear legroom. Therefore, usually there are sometimes like longer version of vehicles we have in Europe or in the US, and they have an even longer long wheelbase. But here, a lot of rear legroom indeed, super spacious. Then headroom here also works once again. You can once again see that panoramic roof and nice bright headliner here. The build quality so far seems also quite good, and it's also in a quite comfortable seating position here in the rear. You can also vary here the back of the seat like this. You can put it a little bit more upright like this or more back like this. And then you have here some cup holders. There we go. A little bit slow, as for now at least. So, but overall I think, yeah, I think the space, the legroom especially, is the main thing here. As for the trunk, let's see. Here we go, electric hatch. Prototype a little bit slow at the moment. Here the width is about 1 meter or 40 inches. It's not too high actually, but you can see here the cabin trolley does fit in a vertical way, and the length here is also around 1 meter or 40 inches. The overall height here 70 centimeters or 28 inches, and you can also fold the seats. If I reach over here, I can already do that from here right there, you can see. And let's also check out their apps. So what they have here is a WEY app, and the interesting thing is inside the app you can make your reservation now, and can also already here pick the colors and so on. And there we can also see the different interior choices. Yeah, that's the bright with black or white steering wheel. Interesting. At the moment the engine is running. This is a 2-liter 4-cylinder with just over 200 horsepower, 9-speed dual clutch transmission. The rear electric motor 160 horsepower and the front electric motor 90 horsepower, and then we get to this overall horsepower count. Recharging will be 11 kW AC or 80 kW DC, and then a full charge with 80 kW DC should take about 25 minutes. And now we're taking a spin together with head of vehicle for Europe for Great Wall Motors with LX12. And we cannot drive ourselves today, not allowed yet, because this is a prototype, but he will guide us through. So we can see here the 3D or the 360-degree camera. So it seems like a very good resolution so far. Will it be always activated when you start slowly, or how does it work?
You can activate it that it's automatically on, or even when you're steering left or right, that's like a blind addition to the blind spot that it's always on. Up to 32 kilometers you can see it always, and you can spin it during driving. Over 32 kilometers it turns off.
Oh, okay.
The video screen.
So how is it with the distribution of the different electric motors and the engine? So what is like the predominant drive?
predominant drive is normally the P4 in the back. You can see it here, it's always the P4, it's the electric axle. Normally when you drive an EV mode or an automatic mode, normally 80% of that, when you have the full charged battery, the P4 should work. So you have only a rear-wheel drive. When you need a little bit more power, then the additional P2 mode engine in the front gets additional power, and we need more power than that. Then the ICE combustion engine will start, and you have more power.
So the EV driving is always the focus.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Can you show us like a very strong acceleration from this 5 seconds is supposed to be?
We can do that. Nobody's there. Okay, then we go here. I think we will not get all the power to the ground, but we can see now. Let's roll a little bit, then we get more power, and then we go there. Yeah, it's spinning.
Well, that was like 10 to 100 or something. Wow, that was quite impressive. So.
Even for this weight, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a small vehicle at all. So we first had this electric drive, instant torque, and then the engine came to that. But it's, you know, you more thought about that people mainly drive it all electric, then recharge and just have like the combustion engine for longer drives, or what was the plan for that?
I think it's that, like in the cities, when you go like in the city center, something like that, I think then the focus is really 100% of the electric drive. And even on the highway, when you're going about 150 or 140 with the combustion engine, and when you need a little bit more power and you just want to overtake, the boost of the electric is so strong that you really can overtake everything. Even when you want to show a Porsche or something like that, that you have some power under your hood.
How fast does it go all electric?
Normally, really always about 135, 139 kilometers an hour, but you can go up to, when you really slowly accelerate, up to 160 kilometers an hour, only electric. And even when you're going 200 with the combustion engine and then going off the pedal and like flow there, then even then the EV mode goes on, and then you can really fly only with EV with 200, and it holds the speed.
So what was the decision to go with such a big battery and such a high range? I mean, there's the Polestar 1, maybe like is a more concept car, and usually the other plug-in hybrids don't have such a big battery. So why did you go for this concept, not say like, okay, maybe we go directly all electric or something? So what was the reason behind that?
Behind that is like, when you're with this range of battery, you can go maybe when you have like 20 or 25 kilometers to your job, and you even can go to your job and back home and don't have to charge immediately. So you can go 2 or 3 days to your work and don't have to charge. And even when there's only 1 or 2 charging stations, then you have to wait for that, and even can say every second day you only have to charge. And even when you go longer distances with this, then we have, like, even with this vehicle, up to, I think when you're going about 120, 130, up to 750 kilometers range. And for that, it's really good for this car.
So, I mean, when you would have made it like all electric, then you couldn't offer it at that price. What that's the reason behind that? So that you could say like, hey, we do 100 kWh battery, make it full electric, and that's it. You know. So why did you still go for the plug-in hybrid concept?
I think right now we want to enter the market with the WEY, because the WEY is a really huge vehicle with the weight that we have always. It doesn't matter if you have when you have like no battery anymore, that you have like the gas, you can drive even more. Sometimes when you're going with this, you always wants to have long distance drives, like in your vacation place, and when you don't find any charging stations, you want to go further because it's a family vehicle, you want to get to your final destination. You can't wait always for charging full. But because when you have like a 100 kilowatt battery, then it takes sometimes 2 hours or something like that. And then with the kids, you don't want to wait. So with the gas, you can go further. That was the idea. And even because in China, this vehicle is only available only with combustion engine. Only in Europe, it will be for like a hybrid.
Oh, okay.
And so that's why it was the decision for that. We have even another brand, it's the Aura brand, and the Aura brand is the full electrical brand, and there we have over 100 kilowatt battery.
Are there any plans to make this one here all electric, or will it be like a different model then?
Then I think it will be a different model because we have the policy internally that full electric vehicle will be, first of all, the Orwa brand.
What about suspension? So we driving here now with the 21-inch wheels, but
Yes.
so far it was actually quite good comfort. Any adaptive suspension available, or what is this? Is normal steel suspension, air suspension? What do you have here?
Right now, this one is a steel suspension. We're right now working on that. We got maybe in the end of the first year, so end of 2022, to get an additional, like a sport button like that you have a magnetic suspension extra, that you just get about 10 or 20% more like magnetic suspension, that you have a little stiffer feeling, something like that. That should come in the first year.
So, German motorway test to come. That's of course the most important thing to do here, always when you're in Germany and when I want to test something. Yeah, and the BMWs are in front of us. I mean, you're coming here to Germany and, you know, with Audi, BMW, Mercedes. Is it like, okay, when we make it in Germany, then we can make it everywhere, or what was the thought behind that?
Yeah, Germany, because Germany, Europe, it's really like critical car. People are there, and when you got it there, then you really can make it everywhere, something like that.
Yeah, by the way, now at 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour, noise insulation seems quite good. We don't have unlimited speed here at the moment, so we can't test it at a higher speed. But so far, everything quite silent. There are no any spots where we can pick up some wind noises. So how much detail did you pay actually to the sound dampening? Because that's also something where the Germans are actually quite famous for. You know?
Right now we are more focusing on this one. This one is still a prototype. We have still here not the full insulation in, like from the firewall to the engine. There is something missing on the side. It's a little bit missing. It's still good insulated already. We have some wind noises with a higher speed, but for the serial production, we will bring in more insulation to the engine and onto the side. And right now you can see here only the P4 is running. Still, and even when you're accelerating a little bit.
P4 is the rear electric motor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When I accelerate a little bit, okay, now comes both engines. That's the smaller one, and that's the combustion engine. You can see it over here. It's P2.
Now it's two electric motors.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so the combustion is really basically only for the kickdown or when the battery is empty.
Exactly. Or even when there's like a temperature issue or something like that, that it needs to help. Or even on mountains.
Yeah. So that means basically, since the rear electric motor is also a stronger one, you will kind of have a rear wheel bias. So to be more agile out of the corners and
Yes.
so on.
Exactly. And here you can see always when you're driving longer. Right now it's a prototype, that's why you can't read it like that. But here even that's really good for people, like how you're driving, when you're flying, when you really need the battery, or even your charging attitude, how you're charging, how you're using your battery, even for really a long distance of this. For the drive mode, when you go here, you can see here we have 9 drive mode. Okay, 6 of them are most important. Like you have the auto mode, the auto, then EV mode, only electrical. Safe mode, it's like somebody is asking why the safe mode. The safe mode is like that when like you go to Austria or Switzerland. Sometimes there are some little villages there's really only allowed to drive electrical. Even when you just start the engine and the engine comes on the IC and the police sees you, you have to pay a fee of about 200 euros, something like that. When you're sometimes coming from like say Berlin and you're driving 1,000 kilometers to Switzerland. Of course, when you're driving in this car and you're coming to an end, the battery is empty. And so you can't drive electrical there. So you can say, okay, now you take on safe, then 10% of the rounds of the engine will take, now the combustion is running, yes, and 10% of the rounds will take to save kilometers. So when you're going about 10 kilometers with the combustion engine, you save 5 kilometers electric. And even when you go here, even the electric engines are still running with this, but you will use it now to charge the battery 30 it's now, and I think when we arrive at the airport, I think it will be 32 or 33, something like that. So you can charge like 100 kilometers before you arrive your destination. You can go on this mode and have enough electricity to drive there and get no fine.
In the all-wheel drive mode, this goes then for all the motors or just the 2 electric motors, or how does that work?
The auto mode?
In the all-wheel drive mode.
The all-wheel drive mode means that all combustion, as all engine has to run. So the combustion, exactly when we go back to this, you see the first row is only like more or less electrical. Auto mode, only electrical, safe mode electrical. The second mode is the combustion is always on. Sports mode, Sports Plus, and all-wheel drive. All-wheel drive is more comfort driving, but all-wheel drive, Sport is sportive, Sport Plus is sportive, and even the torque control is disabled, so you can have spinning wheels when you want to have this. The last row is just like the torque calibration, like on mud, sand, and snow. Sometimes it depends how the torque should be suspended on the different wheels that you have really going forward.
Yeah. So, what would you say, also from your experience with the German manufacturers, how is this one here different if you compare it to the German premium manufacturers? What would you say?
The first thing I say, for the engine itself, okay, the range, and you really can have a kick down, or even when you're on the traffic light and want to have a jump start, something like that, with 1 or 2 guys next to you. When you're driving another OEM in Germany, you make this 2 times at the traffic light. Battery is always empty. Here you can do it really, and then you can go even additional 100 kilometers, like to skiing, to Austria. That's the first difference. The second difference is really the size in the car. I'm a tall guy, and I'm sitting here, and when I sit behind me in the same position, I have so much space that even my knees are not touching the seat in front, and even in the head you have more space, as you're really feeling comfy. And the big difference is, that was the altitude of Mr. WEY, Jack WEY, that the cars of him has to be like safe. That means all the safe assistance systems, like all the long range, everything, cruise control, automotive driving, something like that, level 2, it's all included in the base version. And only when you have more, pay more, it's only like color and interior, something like that. But the safety features in the car itself always included. And that's the difference to all the European OEMs. They have to pay extra for each assistance system.
Yeah, I mean, suspension-wise, I do feel, maybe that's something you can still tune, because I think it's rather set on the sporty notes, rather, it's not soft at all. Sometimes when there are some bumps, you still feel it, so maybe an adaptive suspension could work a little bit better there. But other than that, I mean, you do get a quite sophisticated driving feeling. So if you think about, the competitors you were aiming for, like Range Rover Velar, something between BMW X3 and X5, I think that can work. And I think the price is really the crucial point. As you said, I mean, when it starts, you said it starts 50,000 euros, something
like that.
But then you don't range to like 100,000,
no,
but just to 55.
Exactly, something like that. It's only the interior and exterior, the color match, something like that.
Yeah, and when you think about like an X3 or like a Mercedes GLC or something, you can add some 40,000 euros of extras or something. But here you basically get everything already. Any plans for the infotainment system still? This was also still a prototype stage. What else you want to put in there? I heard there's also, you're aiming for 5G connectivity.
Exactly. Also 5G should come now in the serial cars. We will test it in the next weeks when the first vehicle arrive in Germany. Then for the entertainment system, we have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto in there. We have over USB, over cell phone, you can have video, MP3 playing, and then even everything like on demand, like you can, like when you go here, you can see YouTube. You can
probably not watching Autogefühl on YouTube while driving, right?
Exactly, when you park.
Right?
Exactly, yeah.
That would be too nice, right?
That would be too nice, yes. But even there, you can Spotify everything, like it's connected. You can listen to music, even videos when you're standing somewhere. Then the sound system is really good. It's Infinity sound system inside, even subwoofers under the seats. Everything is really good entertainment system. Even the ambilight, right now it's too bright, but the ambilight here with the light is really great. You can choose your RGB as really the color you want. And even you can connect it to the radio. That means when the sound is running, you can make a disco light, something like that. So yes.
Yeah, let's talk about how you enjoy your coffee. And yeah, if you want to enjoy something else in the coffee, check out the competitors of this vehicle here, the BMW X3, for example, or the Range Rover Velar. And also tell us in the comments what you think here about our first drive today with the Coffee Zero from WEY. What do you think? Is that the right approach? Join us in the comments.